We hope you will enjoy the last chapter of the book titled Legacy. This is about the legacy that Dr. Bartley is leaving here with the district, and I hope we can continue to make her proud.
Chapter 8, Legacy. Lebanon making environmental gains through active change yearly.
Green, green, green. Everywhere the rain replenished the earth and the grass was growing fast. This was just the kind of day that made Jumpy the grasshopper extra jumpy. After checking in with Freddy and Flash, who were hanging out near the 7th Street Bridge, he proclaimed,
"I'm going exploring. See you guys later."
Jumpy's back legs sprung into action, powering him up the grassy slope near the YMCA and right onto the bridge overlooking the Quiddy. He said out loud.
I like this mural. All of Freddy's friends are shown in pictures, except me. I'm a late bloomer, I guess. Maybe the kids will make another mural on the next bridge. I hope I'll be the main character. I'd like that.
Jumpy headed east, following the Quittapilla Creek and venturing through a number of backyards. He finally ended up in a beautiful, sprawling lawn near a big brick building. Behind the building, he noticed a lot of kids out and about playing in the dirt. They had shovels, watering cans, and gardening gloves. He headed over in their direction, curious about what they were doing. Jumpy landed on a girl's shoulder, ready to introduce himself, when a girl with the shovel shouted,
"Ew, Leah, there's a big bug on your shoulder. I'll smash it with my shovel."
The shovel came down hard on the girl's shoulder, and Leah cried out,
"Hey, that hurt. What's the matter with you, Abby? And look, there's what you were trying to smash. It's only a grasshopper."
Jumpy's heart was pounding. It was a narrow escape. He moved under the leaves of a tomato plant so that he would not have to endure another attack. After a few minutes, Leah approached him gently, holding out the palm of her hand, saying,
"Come here, little guy. I'm not going to hurt you. No worries."
After a few minutes of cajoling by the girl, Jumpy realized that he could trust her and hopped into her palm.
"Welcome to our garden, Mr. Grasshopper. I'm Leah, and we are taking care of the soil and planting things so that we will have a great harvest next year. What brings you here, little guy?"
Jumpy proclaimed.
Well, I was just out exploring, and I was curious about all of the activity going on here. I'm the type of insect that likes an adventure. Piles of dirt and beautiful plants are right up my alley. By the way, my name is Jumpy, and I'm about 6 weeks old. Already, I've had some fantastic adventures. I've spotted a flying fish who is some kind of folk hero named Freddy, and I even got to go for a helicopter ride with the mayor a few weeks ago.
Abby chimed in.
You have a wild imagination for a grasshopper. What in the world are you talking about?
Did you see the Cedar Express flying overhead a few weeks ago?
Asked Jumpy.
Nope.
Said Abby.
And even if I did, I would not have believed you were in it.
Well, I was. The mayor and I took Freddy the fish back to his home in the Quiddy after he got swept away in a stormwater drain. He was caught in a current and finally escaped at Optimist Park when he flew into the air, landed on a wet sliding board, and into a bucket.
Sounds like a fishtail to me,
said Abby.
Well, believe what you will. I'm speaking the truth,
replied Jumpy.
Anyway, I want to know about this garden. Who is in charge of the garden? What kinds of things are being planted here? And what's that pile of stuff that you're putting in the soil? And what's it all for?
Leah called all the kids together, introduced them to Jumpy, and told them that the grasshopper had a whole lot of questions about the garden. Everyone started talking at once, explaining what they were planting, what they hoped to accomplish, and so on. When Jumpy leapt into the air and landed right on Abby's head.
Stop!
Shouted Jumpy.
You're all talking at once. I can't understand any of you. Too much noise.
Just then, a loud buzzer sound went off. The grasshopper made a speedy exit to hide in a bush near the building. As the kids scuffled away forming a line near the back door. Several teachers came to the door, and the children disappeared into the building behind them. One could tell it was the end of the school year. The teachers were exhausted and were awaiting summer vacation, as were all the children.
Mrs. Riker, Mrs. Riker, guess what?
The students said as they piled into their 5th grade classroom. Again, the children started talking nonstop, one after the other.
There's a grasshopper outside that tall,
Said Mohammed.
Aggie hit Leah with the shovel.
Reported Jalik.
The grasshopper wants an explanation.
Kira chimed in.
He wants to know what we are putting in the soil.
Flynn announced.
He says his name is Jumpy.
Nayla added.
He wants to know what we're planting.
Said Alondra.
He wants to know when our garden started.
Jalik proclaimed.
He's kind of nosy.
Colin stated.
No, he's not. He's just curious.
Leah rebutted. As everyone knows, teachers are good at multitasking and bringing order to chaos. And this sounded like chaos. With a serious look and the slightest gesture, Mrs. Riker had the command of her class as they quickly closed their mouths and took their seats.
All right, everyone, let's settle down. I hear you spotted a curious visitor in our garden. Now, we don't want to scare him away. Let's organize our thoughts and our information. We can write a poem today and read it to him tomorrow.
The teacher divided the kids into groups, and the students got right to work. By the end of the afternoon, the students handed Mrs. Riker a perfect poem. Not only was it grammatically correct and interesting, but it also was chock full of good information. The next day, the students went back out to the garden right after lunchtime. Fortunately, Jumpy was still there, and he felt comfortable enough going right over to Leah. Leah greeted him and called her classmates together, and they all sat down in a circle around Jumpy. They hoped the poem they had written would satisfy his curiosity. Jumpy listened as all the students read the first 2 stanzas together.
This is how it came to be, said the students filled with glee. Some time ago, in the past, some of the parents said at last, we surely have a great big lawn. Let's not be lazy, let's not yawn. Let's start a garden and you will know that we can plant it and watch it grow.
Oh, so you've had this garden for some time. That's wonderful,
Said Jumpy.
But what's with that barrel over there and all of the stuff that I saw kids putting in it yesterday afternoon?
That's our compost bin, Jumpy. It provides the soil with extra nutrients, and that helps our plants grow big and strong.
Said Flynn.
You know, Jumpy,
Added Mo.
we are really going green in Southeast. Listen to this.
Replied Jalik.
We will explain what we mean by compost.
The boys began to recite the following lines as Jumpy and the other students listened attentively.
Food that is rotten and untasted, at Southeast it shall not be wasted. Mrs. Monk's class collects the trash and adds it to the compost stash. Spin the handle round and round till it's ready to feed the ground. The Southeast garden was the first of its kind. Others are watching and we don't mind. Our idea is spreading district-wide, and at Southeast we take great pride. Off to the middle school we shall go to share with others all that we know. As they start their garden there, planting veggies with great care. Knowledge is power, and we must say, we hope everyone will go green this way.
Jumpy rubbed his front legs together in applause, and all the other kids joined in with him.
Bravo! Bravo!
They exclaimed.
I like that rhyme. It's just in time to help me understand your kind.
Said Jumpy, proud of himself for making up his own rhyme.
But can someone tell me what kinds of things you are growing?
Leah, Alondra, and Nayla shouted.
We'll start. We have a Southeast favorite plant to tell you about. In our garden, strawberries grow. They are ground, so get down low. Snag them and put them in your sack. We'll eat them as a healthy snack.
Yum, strawberries. They're red, delicious, and sweet, and they're one of the first fruits of the season.
Said Mr. Habecker, the principal, who had joined the students as they were sharing their poetry.
Let's tell Jumpy about this leafy green plant over there. Did anyone write about that one?
We did.
said Colin and Leah.
Listen up. If you're afraid to step on the scale, just make sure you have some kale. Kale is green and good to eat. The health benefits can't be beat. I remember when Miss Reynolds' mom came in and made us kale chips back when we were in 2nd grade. At first, we were afraid to eat them, but we tried them. You know, kale chips are pretty good,
said Alondra.
I agree.
Said Mr. Habecker.
I eat kale chips when I have the urge for something crunchy and tasty. I'm proud that our edible garden has so many healthful food options.
Jumpy asked.
What else are you planting in the garden?
Abby and Kirsten responded in unison.
Potato pieces with an eye. Plant them, don't be shy. Baked potatoes are so good, grown right in our neighborhood. Tomatoes for the pickin' are red and ripe. We all say they're dynamite. You can season with garlic if you choose. We grow it right here, so don't you snooze.
And don't forget about another summertime favorite,
said Jaylee and Kira.
Listen up. And that's not all, we'll give a hint. We like iced tea with fresh green mint. Now that you've put us to the test, you know our garden is the best.
Jumpy was thrilled to hear all about their garden, and he continued exploring with the students. He discovered a plaque in the garden for Mr. Arnold Payne, one of the founders of the garden. He listened to stories from the teachers and students about the time they grew and decorated pumpkins, and how they had a wonderful harvest of cabbage. He heard about their adventures making sauerkraut. The stories continued, and everyone enjoyed the fresh air, the pleasant breeze that kept the day cool. The teachers did not mind that their students had extra time outdoors, as all of the testing for the year was finished. Alondra heard a buzzing by her ear and exclaimed,
Wow, look at that big bumblebee.
Jumpy was particularly curious about the bee and started a conversation.
What's your name, and what are you doing here?
He asked.
I'm Polly the pollinator, and I'm here to help the beautiful strawberries grow. I was looking for flowers, but the butterflies were covering the bushes, so I decided to work on pollinating these strawberries instead, as I was trying to be helpful.
Oh, well, that's a good idea. I see what you mean about our butterfly garden over there,
said Jalik.
We've been attracting a lot of butterflies the past few days. I've been examining a few of them to determine what kinds of butterflies are coming.
Just then a gusty breeze came through and everyone heard tiny yelps coming from the butterfly garden. The butterflies were toppling through the air and headed toward the garden. Polly and Jalik, who were closest to the strawberry plants, heard a little voice ask in desperation,
Could I have a little help here? I can't stop fluttering away.
Jalik used his butterfly net to catch the frightened butterfly. Alondra and Colin gathered around. Alondra spoke up and said,
Wow, this is a really pretty one. I wonder what kind of butterfly it is.
Colin explained that the butterfly must be a monarch because of the beautiful orange and black wings. He reminded his classmates that at the beginning of the school year, they released monarchs from Alumni Stadium as part of the Great Lebanon Community Project. All of the students exclaimed,
I wonder if that's Beatrix.
The little butterfly did not speak up, as she was shy and nervous in front of the crowd. Colin had become the expert on monarchs. He reminded everyone that it would not be possible for this to be Beatrix, because she was released at Alumni Stadium back in September for the kickoff of the Great Lebanon Community Project.
Most butterflies live to be about 6 to 8 weeks, except for the ones that are born in the fall. They have the special job of migrating to warmer climates so that their species can survive the winter. We are at the end of May. Beatrix would not have made it past February or early March.
Jalik added,
Oh, right, I remember that now. She would have flown back across the Caribbean Sea to Florida, where she probably found milkweed plants to lay her eggs. Eventually, her offspring would fly up the East Coast. They look for milkweed plants where they like to lay their eggs.
Mrs. Brown added,
I'm impressed. You really understand the life cycle of the butterfly. You kids are sharp. proud of you.
Flynn added,
It's not that big of a deal, Mrs. Brown. I still have my pamphlet from the kickoff that we got from Alumni Stadium. We all sang Ever Green, Ever Blue and watched the butterflies be released. On the back of the pamphlet, there was a little diagram of the life cycle of the butterfly. It inspired me to conduct some research on my own.
Mrs. Reichert joined in the conversation.
Great initiative on your part, Flynn. Hey, I was wondering if everyone had the chance to see the beautiful mural on the 7th Street Bridge that was completed last month. It's really impressive, and it ties all of Freddy's adventures together.
No, we never got a chance to see it,
Said Leah.
I heard about it. It even has tiles made by elementary students. Dr. Bartley said she even made a tile. Maybe you could take us, Mrs. Reichert?
Jumpy could not resist.
I know the way. I was just there last week. I will be happy to be your guide, Mrs. Reichert.
All the kids joined in.
Yeah, let's take a field trip.
Not so fast, boys and girls. If we are going to do this, we need to make sure we are using our time wisely. We have to do more than just head over to check out the bridge. What else do you think would be important?
Asked Mrs. Reichert.
We could bring our strawberries and set up a stand at Freddy's Bridge or at the market afterward,
Suggested Flynn.
And we could bring handfuls of fresh mint. People would like that.
Added Jaylee.
Our potatoes and tomatoes aren't ready yet.
Lamented Kirsten.
But we've got some baby kale, and that's a delicacy that is sure to sell. We can put all the proceeds from our sale back into the art fund so that someday we can make a mural on the next bridge. Down on 8th Street, we can include paintings of our favorite new friend, Jumpy. We don't want to forget Polly, of course, even this little monarch butterfly.
Said Mo.
By the way, what is your name?
Mo asked the young monarch.
Oh, I'm Beatrix the Fourth, and I have a long, proud history.
Said the young butterfly. Jumpy put it in.
Nice to officially meet you. That name, Beatrix, sounds familiar. Anyway, glad you will be joining us.
Mrs. Reichert added.
It's great to have a new friend in class. I am glad we are now using our heads. Your ideas are good ones that can make a difference in our community.
One more thing.
Mrs. Brown said.
We might as well make sure that we take trash bags. We can help take care of our environment and leave a legacy that inspires others. We can set a good example and actively improve our town. Remember how much our mayor wants to help.
At the end of the day, the students took home permission slips so that they could participate in the field trip. That Friday, the students filled up their wheelbarrow with strawberries, kale, and fresh mint and headed down the street. Jumpy, Polly, and the little monarch named Beatrix the Fourth hitched a ride as Kirsten and Abby pushed the wheelbarrow. Jumpy shouted out directions.
Right at the next intersection. All clear, no traffic.
It didn't take too long before the students approached Lebanon Public Library.
There it is.
Said Leah.
That's the bridge.
Jumpy jumped for joy out of the wheelbarrow, and Polly and Beatrix the Fourth flew over to the bridge as the others followed. Beatrix was a smart butterfly. Somehow she had already learned to read, and in her delicate voice she began to read a banner across the mural that said,
Ever green, ever blue. It's up to me, it's up to you.
She went to the other end of the bridge where she spotted a very special part of the mural and proclaimed,
Hey, that butterfly looks like me.
Everyone fell silent when they saw what happened next. Freddy the fish had been under the bridge, so he hadn't seen the children and the wheelbarrow approach. But he was listening, and he heard that song, and he recognized that voice.
Beatrix, is that you?
He called as he leapt into the air, doing a backflip and landing back into the quitty. Ruby Robin saw all of the commotion and went up to the butterfly and said,
Are you Beatrix's great-granddaughter? If so, that fish Freddy has been waiting for your return. Let me take you down to the water's edge so he doesn't have to come up here to talk to you. He can't breathe when he's out of the water, you know.
Beatrix the Fourth followed Ruby Robin down to the water, and what occurred next was truly special. All the animals gathered around. The mallards with a line of ducklings behind them. Braylon Beaver, Tyree the Turtle, Flash, and even Vampy the bat peered out from under the bridge. Freddy was so excited he could not contain himself. He told the butterfly to hop on, and Beatrix the Fourth landed on Freddy's back fin, and they took a ride around the quitty as everyone watched in amazement. Beatrix the Fourth hung on for dear life as they sped around rocks and in and out of the nooks and crannies along the water's edge.
I'm so happy to be with you again, Beatrix,
Freddy called as he sped around the quitty.
This is fun,
said Beatrix the Fourth in a shaky voice. After the exhilarating ride, they rested. Beatrix the Fourth told Freddy that she was Beatrix's great-granddaughter. She explained that her mom, Beatrix the Third, informed her that her mission was to make it back to Lebanon, PA, to meet up with a special scaly friend so that she could prove that his efforts mattered and that the monarch species was surviving. Freddy listened attentively. Beatrix the Fourth continued talking and told Freddy that she and her ancestors were responsible for making it back up the East Coast so that the circle of life could continue again. She knew that her great-grandmother came from Lebanon, PA, and that she had made many friends here, especially Freddy the Fish, and she was instructed to find him. She told Freddy that she learned from her mom that he started the whole thing when he talked to the superintendent after she fell off her bike and landed in the quitty. Beatrix the Fourth reminded Freddy that he inspired the superintendent and the mayor to get the kids and the teachers together to make this world a better place. Beatrix the Fourth knew that something as small as a butterfly or a fish could start a powerful story. The story had helped others take better care of the environment and the town. Ruby the Robin assured Beatrix the Fourth and Freddy that the students had been doing a good job. Ruby knew that the students had been checking water quality and they had been studying the environment and watersheds. Ruby also had evidence that the students had been recycling more, they had been expanding gardens, and they had helped the mayor keep the city clean. Freddy the Fish smiled contentedly and gave Beatrix the Fourth a wet hug.
I'm so happy you're here, Beatrix the Fourth. It sounds as if I have helped everyone remember that there are consequences to our actions, and that, in reality, the plants and animals cannot speak up for themselves.
Beatrix the Fourth replied, "We need the kids to lead the way. Maybe that can be our legacy, to inspire the children to leave the world a better place."
With that, Freddy caught the attention of everyone on the bridge and said,
Repeat after me. Start here, start now, and keep building a legacy of making lives better. Lives for people, animals, and fish, and all of nature.
The children changed it around a little bit and said,
We are starting here, and we are starting now, and we will leave a legacy of making lives better. Lives for people, animals, and fish, and all of nature.
Legacy poem by Dr. Bartley.
You've read The Adventures of Freddy the Fish, and in conclusion, I have one wish, that everyone who reads this tale realizes that we will not fail. Within the world, our little town can make an impact, we have found. Taking care of every creature, what we do here affects the future. Butterfly, fish, turtle, or bird, they cannot make their voices heard, but we can lend a helping hand. We can make our city grand. Paint a mural, write a story, pick up trash. While there's no glory, you're truly doing something good, and you'll earn respect, it's understood. Be empowered, lead the way. While you may be small, I'm here to say, your actions matter in our time. And now I will conclude this rhyme. Let's make our city among the best. Keep on striving, do not rest. We'll make the change we want to see, and that can be our legacy.
We hope you enjoyed reading the book and the last chapter, Legacy. My name is Mrs. Brown, and I played myself and Ruby the Robin.
My name's Alondra, and I played myself.
I'm Abby, and I played as myself.
I am Flynn, and I played as myself and Freddy the Fish.
I'm Leah, and I played as myself.
I'm Kirsten. I played as myself and Beatrix the Fourth.
I'm Nayla, and I played the narrator.
My name's Jalik, and I played Jalik, myself.
My name's Kier, and I played myself and Mrs. Reigert.
My name is Mohammed, or also Mo, and I played myself.
My name is Colin, and I played myself.
And I'm Mrs. Reiger, and I played Jumpy the Grasshopper. Thank you, Dr. Bartley, for leaving us your legacy. Southeast
Stars Road.